Hello everyone, I'm Deniz Aslan. Today I'm gonna make a presentation about practical wisdom. One choice was all about how when you give people too much choice it leads to all kinds of bad results. So the official psychology in the US and pretty much every other Western country runs roughly like this. We can't ever have too much freedom. The more freedom people have, the better off they are. We should take every opportunity to engage freedom when we can. If we agree to that, and pretty much every does, the question is how to engage freedom. More freedom means more well-being. More choice means more freedom, and more choice means more well-being. So more freedom means well-being, but it's logically powerful. The only problem is psychology false. It is not true. And the research in the last 10 years have shown that when people have too much choice, bad stuff happens. The first bad thing that happens is that people are paralyzed with everything at their disposal. They can't pull the trigger instead of being liberated by all this choice. They are paralyzed by of all this choice. The second bad thing happens if they overcome paralysis and choice. They are likely to choose badly. People make bad decisions even in simple environments. Well, you can't just imagine how much worse the decisions are when the environments get complex, and let me assure you that choosing among 60 or 70 Medicare Part D prescription. The third bad thing that happens is if you overcome paralysis and choice, and if you get lucky and you choose well, you people end up less satisfied with good choice if they are chosen from large choice sets than if they are chosen from small ones. It's always easy to imagine when you encounter an imperfection in any item or activity that you have chosen. So you are compare how good the thing is with how good you expected it to be, and you end up disappointed. Psychologists have known for 40 or 50 years that choice is a good, and yet Barry Schwartz's staff has emphasized the ways in which choice is bad. So, how can choice be good or bad? The way I have conceptualized it is that relation between the amount of choice people have and how they feel looks loosely like this curve. And just so that you are clear, the curve doesn't not actually capture real data. It is an idealis- idealization, but the point is that all the way on the left, when people have no choice, life is ingenuinely bad. You can't live a human life and not a significant choice. However, as you add choice and you make life better and better, a point is reached where all of the benefits of choice essentially asymptom flatten out and all the negative consequences of too much choice starts rear their ugly heads and the curve changed direction. To be technical, the relation between choice and well-being is non-monadic, and the task is figure out the point in a choice space where people can decide all benefits without paying the substantial psychological cost. So if the curve looks like I just described it to you, it to you the question you face a provider of option to people is what's the right amount choice. So one task that people face, whatever it's supermarkets, clothing retailers, or information providers, is what is the sweet spot? How many options is the right amount of options for people derive the benefits of having choice without paying price? And the sad fact is that there is no algorithmic way to the answer that question. I am afraid that way you figure out what the sweet spot is by studying people make decisions in different domains. The sweet spot is likely be different areas of life. The second thing you can do, even though there may be hundreds and hundreds of options, the principle the person who is going to actually have to make choice only sees three or four, and you have visually structured the choice domain and filtered out options so that not only does the principal only see three or four, but it's just right three or four, and it doesn't matter under those conditions how many options are out there because the only ones that the principal sees area the ones that matter. Empathic understanding is essential ingredient of wisdom. It's something that takes experience to learn. Little, little kids have the impulse to be empathic, but they don't have a clue about what would you, what would actually help. There is great story about 2 years old at nursery school, and one of their classmates is upset and crying. It bothers them, so they wanna help this unhappy 2 years old. So question is, what should they do? And the answer they come up with in this: when I am unhappy, I want a hug from my mom. And so they walk walk over to this unhappy 2 year old, take her hand and walk her over to their mom. A hug from my mom makes me feel better. They have the impulse to ease the suffering of others, but they don't have a clue about it takes to do that. Most of us are little better than 2 years olds, but it takes experience really to get good at that. And perhaps most important, a wise person uses these skills in pursuit of the right aims to serve other people and not serve him or herself. If you use all these skills to serve yourself, you became a Machiavellian manipulator, and that's not what Aristotle thought a virtuous people was like. A wise person is made, not born. We argue in the book that everybody has a capacity to develop these characteristics, but it takes experience. It takes trial and error. It takes making mistakes and getting wiser a result leading from your mistakes. Nobody is born with magic gift of wisdom. Motivation competition. I will give an example of what happens when you demoralize the workplace. Bonuses in the financial sector. 30 years ago, a smart economist, that's not an oxymoron, smart economists had this idea that way to get companies performing well is to give leaders of companies a significant portion of their compensation in the form in stock options and bonuses. Now, when you get the pinnacle of Google or IBM, you won't sit back, semi-retire and have 4 hour lunch because how much you earn is gonna depend on how well the company does. It seems blindingly obvious now, since that's the way everybody gets paid, but it was an incident then, and it was incident that inspired confidence that the market was going to be completely self-regulated. You were making it is so that people couldn't only do sell by doing good things for their companies, a revolution in engineering workplace organization. It is exactly that revolution that produced the concern for how well a company is doing quarter by quarter or month by month or week by week. That CEOs constantly made decisions that sold the long-term well-being of their companies down the wire in return for profitable quarters. The financial revolution turned out to bring its wake a financial disaster. Is that low there are two most important determinants of happiness. Two most important determinants of well-being are close connection to other people and network of meaningful and close social relations and meaning and purpose in your daily work. Purpose-driven work unless you have developed the practical wisdom that enables you to figure out what people need and then how to provide it. So once people become wise, their work goes better, their relations go better. They get more and more eager to get up in the morning and tomorrow more or less what they have done today to make itself sustaining. Thanks for watching me.